Hi, Rebels. This is Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls, the interview. I'm your host, Keira, and today we're talking to the record-breaking pilot, Zara Rutherford. Hi, Zara. Can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Zara. I am currently 22 years old, but when I was 19, I became the youngest woman to fly solo around the world, and I'm currently studying electrical engineering at Stanford.
Wow, the youngest woman to ever fly solo around the world. That's amazing. How did you come up with the idea to do that?
My parents were pilots. I was really lucky, so they kind of taught me in the beginning everything about aviation. And I just knew from a really young age, I was like, I want to fly around the world. Like, I thought it was the biggest adventure I could do. Like, how cool would that be?
When did you know that your dream would become a reality?
I thought it was going to be completely impossible. And I realized, like, with that mindset, well, I'm not going to get anywhere, right? Like, if you don't believe that you can do it, well, odds are you're not going to try. And so I figured, let me try and see how far I can get. Because I much preferred trying and failing than not having tried at all.
Totally. Like, even if you hadn't made it all the way around, it still would have been an amazing adventure. What does it feel like to fly an airplane?
It's a really tough thing to try to describe. I feel like it's kind of like a sense of invincibility, kind of, where the moment the wheels leave the ground when you take off, it feels like you can go anywhere in the world. Like, the sky no longer becomes the limit.
That's so cool. What does it take to fly around the world?
So technically, there were a few things I had to do. Like, I had a minimum distance, I had to cross the equator, and kept going in that direction until finally back home 5 months later.
5 months? That's almost half a year. How did you pack for such a long solo trip?
Good question. So because my plane was so small, I only had a very small backpack with me. I think I had 3 t-shirts and 2 pairs of jeans for like the entire trip. I had Miffy with me, which was this tiny sort of rabbit plushie that had a little pilot suit. So Miffy was my co-pilot. And other than that, that was kind of it. I had like a gigantic fuel tank in the back for extra fuel, but I wasn't allowed to pack very much.
Did you ever feel scared?
Yes, quite often. The scariest times are usually weather related, so like thunderstorms, things like severe turbulence, like when it's really bumpy. And usually in those moments you kind of have to like realize like, okay, I've trained for this, I'm prepared for this, what is my next step here?
Do you have a way to make yourself feel better when you're flying and starting to get nervous?
Yes, I actually sing to myself. Whenever I need a bit of courage, I'll put a song on, kind of anything, and just kind of sing along with it. Sometimes scream it out, depending on how scary things are, but it really helps, so I recommend that.
I might have to try that next time I take a test. Okay, I gotta know. After traveling all the way around the world, what was your favorite place?
Oof, that's a difficult question. It's hard to say because every place was so different. For me, Greenland is very strange because there's icebergs absolutely everywhere, and at one point I was flying quite low, and I noticed these like big kind of grey blobs on the ice, like a bunch of them. And so I'm trying to look at what these big grey blobs are, and I realized they're seals. And there were hundreds of seals just sleeping on the ice. And that was really amazing. So then you forget about all the dangers and everything else because it's like, oh, there's a cute seal, so it's okay.
That's amazing. How did you feel when you finally completed your goal of circumnavigating the globe?
I was overjoyed. I was mostly happy because I was finally going home because it took 5 months. But I also was excited about the fact that I'd done it, that I'd beaten the previous record. And I was excited about the fact that hopefully a few other girls behind me might then also beat my record. That's the aim. So if anybody out there wants to beat my record, please do. I'm here, I'll help you. But that's really the main aim.
Like you said, the sky's the limit. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us, Zara.
No, thank you. Great questions. So it's great meeting you.
And thank you for watching. Catch you next time and stay rebel.